Welcome to the Line Life podcast. I'm Jeff Postlethwaite of T&D World, and today we're bringing you more stories of the grit, courage, and inspirational teamwork that it takes to be a line worker.
Thank you for tuning in to the T&D World Line Life podcast, produced by Endeavor Business Media, a division of Endeavor B2B. My name is Amy Fishbach, and I'm the head of content for T&D World and also the host of the Line Life podcast. Before I dive into today's episode, I invite you to become part of our Line Life podcast community by searching for the Line Life podcast in your favorite podcasting app or going to linelife.podbean.com and clicking follow in the top right. We air interview-style episodes on the first and third Fridays of each month, and also audio stories in our In Case You Missed It series featuring articles that appeared in our print magazine on the second and fourth Fridays of each month. If you have a comment on this episode or a suggestion for a future guest, please reach out to me. You can email me at afishbach@endeavorb2b.com or reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Lineman World. I'd love to hear from you. Now let's move on to today's episode. Welcome back to this episode of the Line Life podcast. We're continuing our Lineman Hall of Fame series with an interview with Bill Bosch from Northwest Lineman College. He was also a Hall of Famer in the Lineman Hall of Fame. I had the honor of talking with Bill at the International Linemen's Expo a little over a year ago, and I'm thrilled to finally be able to share our interview on this episode of the Line Life podcast. Here's a little bit about William Bosch from the International Linemen's Hall of Fame website. Bill began his life in line work at 10 years old when he helped his dad load hot stick trailers for A.B. Chance Company. He started his official career as an apprentice with Richard and Associates, where he worked for 8 months before moving to Las Vegas to start as a groundman for Nevada Power. 3.5 years later, he graduated from Local 396. He stepped into a mentoring role early in his career and helped with transformer bank and hot stick training. Working on everything from secondary to 500 kV live lines, overhead and underground, Bill eventually moved into management with Nevada Power. After 16 years with the company, he moved to Vermont to work as manager of T&D for Stowe Electric and Vermont Electric Co-op for the next 11 years. After that, he moved to Georgia, where he worked as the managing director for Griffin Power. Throughout his career, he has been involved in operations, safety and training, and apprenticeship programs because he wanted to give back to the industry. He sits on the board of directors of Electric Cities of Georgia and the executive board for the Georgia Linemen's Rodeo. He founded the National Association of Journeymen Linemen, an organization dedicated to educating the public about the dangerous work linemen do and strengthening the traditions and history of the trade. As of 2011, he still served as the organization's chair. Bill was a Hall of Famer back in 2011, but I wanted to give a special shout out to the recent inductees into the Lineman Hall of Fame. For 2023, the winners were James Bowden, Brady Hansen, Michael Hennessy, Harry Reeves, Chad Dubé, and Hazel Burton Bush. And then the 2024 Hall of Famers, who were just recognized at the 2025 International Linemen's Rodeo Week, were Harold Andrew Andy Batty Jr., Danny Rains, George L. Brooks, Melvin Tipsard, Mike Benton, and Willie Warren. If you want to learn more about all of the Hall of Famers going back to the start of the International Linemen's Museum and Hall of Fame, which started in 2006, you can go to linemanmuseum.org. Now I'm excited to feature my interview with Bill from October 2024. Today, Bill is the Vice President of Apprenticeships and Client Solutions for Northwest Lineman College, a leadership coach, a keynote inspirational speaker, and a member lineman and board member for the Hall of Fame. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Amy. It's a pleasure being here.
So, Bill, to begin, can you talk a little bit about being in the Lineman Hall of Fame and how that felt for you?
You got to look back at the history of the trade and just to be associated and recognized with all the great people that are in this trade. I was inducted in 2011. My father was inducted in 2013. So we're one of the few dad and kid partners in the organization. And this year, while honored to be in it, this year's class is one of the most amazing. Every year you just think, how are we going to do it again? How are we going to do it again? And the inductees this year are just an amazing, amazing class.
I saw the list on the International Lineman Museum page, but can you share a little bit with our Line Life podcast listeners about the inductees this year?
Oh my God, what a mix of amazing history. They come from all walks of the trade. Some of them years of experience, training. Others are from the operations side. Some are in management now. But they all set themselves apart by basically their passion and the caring for the trade. And it's just a special group.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about your career in the line trade. Can you go back to the days when you were an apprentice?
Oh gosh, I've been in the trade now. This is my 45th year. 63 years old. My father was hotline manager of A.B. Chance Company for 25 years. So I was packing hot stick trailers when I was 10 years old. He had me working in the foundry when I was 15 on the midnight shift. So, boy, if you're going to learn to work, you're going to.
Right.
But 45 years and started my apprenticeship for a company called Richards and Associates, which was a line contractor, but then went to Nevada Power and did my official apprenticeship through 396 in Nevada. Nevada Power, I was stationed there in Las Vegas. Anything and everything you wanted to learn about energy in the power business, you could learn right there in that city. But from there, I had amazing people that trained me. I could list many of them by name. They're the reason that I have any success today because of that foundational teaching that they gave me. And it was more than just line work. They taught you how to be a man. They taught you how to, right and wrong. But from there, started a transition into management and worked my way up until I was actually CEO of a utility. I've held many senior leadership positions, but it all came from the foundation that they taught me in my apprenticeship. Way back, I started in 1978, 79. A little bit different world then, but so those 45 years, I think one of the most thing I'm proud of was April 18th, National Lineman Appreciation Day. I wrote that legislation back in 2010. And got that into Congress in 2012. We celebrated it the first year in 2012, and then we dropped it in the United States Senate in 2013. I don't remember the last resolution or bill that got 100% positive vote. So National Lineman's Day got passed, and so I'll announce today here with you, we're working, so we have legislation on the Hill right now. It's called the Linemen Legacy Act, and that is to get linemen recognized as first responders. So call your local congressman, wherever you're at in the country, and support the Linemen Legacy Act. It just basically is making linemen recognized as first responders.
It's about time. I think they should have been recognized as first responders for years now.
Just think about Helene and
Right.
Milton. We got 40, 50, 60, 70,000 line personnel out there right now. And nobody could go into those areas until they made it safe.
That's absolutely true. We owe them a lot.
Yeah, so let's honor the trade by honoring them and giving them the distinction of first responders.
I think that's fabulous. So talk about the timeline for it. When was it introduced?
Oh, we've had it. It was introduced in March. So it's been sitting on the Hill since then.
Okay.
We have a number of congressmen that have signed on, but it's like anything else, unless it becomes a top subject that their constituents are calling on, it'll probably sit there. So we got to mobilize the nation to get it done.
So what can our Line Live podcast listeners do to help?
Just call your local congressman and just say, can we please support the Lineman Legacy Act?
Fabulous. And now can you talk about Northwest Lineman College and how you've been involved with NLC?
I've been with NLC now for about 8 years. At that point, I was a high senior position in another company. I was friends with Aaron and Alan and Don and a bunch of the guys that ran it. And they approached me one time and just said, you ever thought of making a change and coming over to the education side? All I ever knew was operations. I knew how to run companies. You want me to come over and switch over to education? Are you freaking crazy? And so I made the change, and it's been the best change I've ever made in my life, to help young men and women find a path to a career. And it's not everybody's path. There's a lot of line schools in the nation, and they all provide a great service. But NLC, there was just something special about them. And I've never been associated with a company like that ever before in my life, where they had that much passion and they cared so much. And I said, I got to be a part of that. So came over, and one of the first things I did was help build the Florida campus down in Edgewater, Florida. Have the pleasure of being a part of every campus we have: California, Idaho, Florida, and Texas. And then we've done some great work in Puerto Rico, and now we have an advanced campus that is going in South Carolina. That one is special because it's for our parent company. We were purchased by Quanta about 6 years ago. And so we work with about 900 companies around the United States for our apprentice programs. But then we also provide training to our Quanta companies too. So we have our 15-week program that young men and women will come and get in the trade. But a lot of people don't know about our apprenticeships. We have lineman apprenticeships, substation, transmission, metering, system operations. So, if a company's out there that's wanting to talk education, just give me a call. I mean, we'll have a Diet Coke and talk about it. Well, we'll have something, but
That sounds great. I want to hear more about your new campus. When is it going to open then?
that is actually probably going to be done by the end of the year. It's in York, South Carolina. And of course, this one services only our Quanta companies and specific companies. Quanta's a wonderful organization. They're actually our parent company, and we do training for them. But we also do training for 900 other companies that are non-Quanta.
Yeah.
So, we kind of got the best of both worlds. We get to work with, I'm actually honored to be on the apprentice side. So I get to work with companies from California to Maine. So I'm on the road all the time. So if you're out there, you want to talk to me, just say, let's go fishing or something. So I'll come talk to you.
So what kind of training are you offering to the apprentices?
We have 4-year apprenticeships and we have 3-year apprenticeships. So all these apprenticeships can be registered with the Department of Labor. So we have 4-year lineman apprenticeship programs, substation, 4-year substation, 4-year transmission, 3-year metering. We can provide the curriculum, or we can provide the curriculum in the training at one of our campuses.
That's wonderful. And what do you see as opportunities for the apprentices in the line trade today?
We've heard this for 10, 15 years now. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure. But honestly, we haven't even started that yet. And with the line schools that are in the nation, we can't fill the open positions. There's probably 8,000 to 10,000 open positions today. And these positions where you can get into ground level employment at thousands and thousands of companies all across the United States. And it's kind of funny. People look for it online and all kinds of stuff. But, traditionally, 70% of all the available jobs aren't even marketed. So a lot of our apprentices, we teach them how to go find the jobs and who to talk to. But at any given time, there might be 7, 8, 10,000 jobs available today or any given day.
Well, that is really good news.
It is. But old guys like me, baby boomers, we're retiring every day. And so there's probably another 2 or 3 years of that where we will cycle through the rest of the baby boomers, and maybe 5 years, 6, 7 years. But then what have we done? We have lost hundreds of thousands of hours of training. And so we better, as an industry, realize what we've lost and try to rebuild that.
How do you think we can bridge that knowledge gap?
It would just keep talking.
Yeah.
And we keep realizing that we used to have linemen out there with 20, 25, 30 years experience. And now a lot of our linemen are out there 5, 10 years experience. And they're great linemen. I mean, they're fantastic linemen. But have they seen everything? So, we got to somehow bridge that knowledge with companies. I would love every company on their website to say, I am a training company, and just say that's our number one goal, is that we are going to train every day, no matter what position you're in. And if we have that mindset, One, I think accidents go down.
Mm-hmm.
And two, we start bridging that gap from, our 20, 30-year linemen and bringing the younger guys up through. If companies just got to take that mindset that our number one goal is to train every day from the tailboard till the time they go home. And, it'd just be a wonderful way to live or a wonderful way to do work.
So, Bill, do you think that we'll have enough line workers to meet the demand? I know there's a lot of infrastructure rebuilding projects going on all over the country.
Yeah, I think so. It depends on the projects, and it depends on how they release that and how they release the money. I don't think we have everybody at the table that we need to have.
Right.
And those discussions need to be a collaborative effort that this work is being released in a manner that there's enough people to do it. And, everybody says, well, we got to rebuild the transmission. Well, I'm sorry, you got to rebuild the substations, the transmission, the distribution, all the way to the meter.
Right.
We can't do it in just slices of the pie. They're going to have to identify what the initiative is and then have a full plan to be able to satisfy it.
And how do you think lineman training programs like Northwest Lineman College can help?
Well, I think just be able to provide that ground level workforce with thousands of jobs available every day, every month, every year. You got to start them. And then on top of that, you got to have a quality apprentice program, quality curriculum, a curriculum that is updated, doesn't fall behind the times.
Right.
And so get them hired, get them trained, retain them. If companies could do a better job of retainage and building a culture where these people want to stay with their company, that's a win-win. Then they have the workforce, and the workforce isn't chasing the next best thing. So if we can build that culture and keep workforces as a whole with the companies that they're at, then we don't have such a transitory, a moving workforce.
Bill, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Line Life Podcast. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you.
To listen to parts 1 and 2 of the Lineman Hall of Fame series, please go to linelife.podbean.com. You can listen to the stories of Robert Paget and Brandon Wiley. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Line Life Podcast, produced by Endeavor Business Media, a division of Endeavor B2B. Be sure to subscribe or follow the Line Life Podcast in your favorite podcasting app so new episodes will be delivered straight to you. For more insights, you can visit our website at tdworld.com/podcasts or linelife.podbean.com. You can also connect with us by following us on Instagram at Lineman World or on Facebook, LinkedIn, or X. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Line Life Podcast.